That does seem to be the case. Why are these bytes missing?
Hello friends, as you may know, I speedrun Space Station Silicon Valley on my Twitch channel, and recently, or I guess probably for the last year, I've been doing 99% speedruns, trying to get the world record in that, and on Sunday, January 30, I succeeded. That's January 30, 2022. This is somehow still the world record.
One thing that I got way better at here is keep pushing.
So yeah, now just like what I did with my Silver Evo
when I first started doing 99%
world record run, which is still the world record today. Maybe not much longer, but for now it's still there.
Now they're like.
I'm doing a post commentary. This time I was doing live commentary, I guess, or I had my mic on while I was doing the run. So unlike the Silver Evo one, I sort of have to talk over myself.
Need to go slower.
We'll see how that goes. But anyway, 99% run. The requirements are, of course, that you beat the game, beat every level in the game. But you also have to collect every power cell, which are these purple orbs. There are 390 power cells in total, and there are 15 per level, except for in the final stages in each world. So Give a Dog a Bonus, Wall Race 64, Evo's Escape, Punch Up Pyramid, and then the Acceleration Parade as well. Those ones don't have any power cells. So outside of those levels, you have to collect 15 in every level. Each level also has a hidden objective, and if you complete that objective, it spawns a souvenir or a trophy. And so you have to collect that as well. The reason why this is called 99% is because of a trophy in Fat Bear Mountain, which doesn't have an activated hitbox. So you can't pick it up. This is a well-known glitch for anybody who knows this game, but that's the reason why we call it 99% instead of 100%, sort of for jokes. But I'll go over that again in Fat Bear Mountain. The last thing that's a requirement is that we have to play as every animal. The reason for that is because in the file select screen there's a species encountered number for each file, and so ideally if you get 100% you would maximize that number. That number increments every time you get a new animal cutscene as a result of swapping into an animal for the first time. So for example, right here I'm just about to swap into the mouse, and when I do, I get a new animal cutscene for the mouse, and that increments the species encountered number by 1.
Oh no, no!
I will say that playing as an animal is not good enough. You have to swap into an animal. So for example, the racing fox I'll play as for a while, but I'm not going to get the new animal cutscene for the racing fox until Randomness, the second last level in Europe. And then I get the new animal cutscene, and that's what counts as a species encountered. So you have to actually swap into the animal. This number, though, the species encountered number, is a little bit broken in that it sometimes increments randomly.
But maybe it hasn't.
So it does increment consistently every time you get a new animal, but sometimes it just sort of goes up by 1 for no reason. And so we sort of nixed the requirement of having that number be as high as possible because we don't really know what that is, and you can't really get it consistently anyway. So as long as you play as every animal and you have a species encountered number it's usually between 43 and 48 after you've beaten the game. But somebody who's verifying the run would have to check to make sure that there's a few specific animals that we don't really use. We just sort of swap into them and swap back out, such as the spring sheep, the regular fox, the camel, the scorpion, the chameleon.
Or Ratomatic Jump.
These animals we don't really play as, but we have to swap into them just to say that we did.
I like that trick.
And yeah, so I'll point those out as we go, maybe. Anyway, we're on our run, and smashing start went quite well for me. My splits are on the left, and you can see it's -0.5, which means that I played half a second faster than my previous personal best. And my previous personal best actually played smashing start really well. So even if I'm in the red there, as long as I'm below like 4 minutes, I'm pretty happy. but here I was at 3 minutes 52 seconds and ahead of my previous PB, so that's really good. My previous PB played Have a Nice Day very poorly, so me saving, 8.5 seconds there is probably average-ish. Let's go over the stuff on the splits anyway. Right now. So of course you have Space Station Silicon Valley 99%. That's the game in the category that I'm running. Beside that is the number of finished runs and the total number of attempts that I've done. So I've completed this run 94 times, and I've attempted the run 1,300 times. So this is neat because my 1,300th run exactly is the world record, and that's sort of a bit of a myth on my channel. There was a time where I think it was a Silver Evo run, and I think it was run number 123 or number 321 that ended up being the world record, and so it's sort of become a bit of a joke on my channel that in order for me to get a PB or to get a world record, it needs to be on a run that has a nice looking number like 1,300. So here it is. And then below that is my splits. The plus or minus is how far ahead or behind I am relative to my current PB. And then the time, if I've already beaten the split, the time shows that when I beat or my current run. But if I haven't done the run yet, or if I haven't completed the level yet, then it's the time that my current PB beat the level. So for example, it says 6:44 on Have a Nice Day. I beat that level at 6:44 this run. Whereas for Honeymoon Lagoon, it says 10:14.
Yeah, I was never.
That's when I beat Honeymoon Lagoon in my PB. The last time I so as long as I beat it before 10:14, I end up ahead.
I can't play this category if,
And then of course you have the actual timer. The timer started at 2:35 because there's an intro cutscene that we like to skip, and that takes about 2 minutes 35 seconds. So instead of watching that cutscene, we sort of start on a file that has already watched that cutscene, and then we just start the timer at 2 minute 35 instead of at 0. But it works out the same, so it's all good. Below that we have the possible time save. It says 14.08. So the fastest I've ever beaten this level was 14 seconds faster than my current personal best beat it.
Pretty good.
So that sort of represents the maximum amount of time save that I could gain, assuming that the best I've ever played is actually the best you could do it. There are probably every level you could beat faster than that, but it's just I've never done it before. So that's what that number is. And in the previous segment, now it says negative 1.1 out of 14. So there was 14 possible seconds to save in Honeymoon Lagoon, but I only saved 1 second. And then below that, you have the best split times, which says plus 12.4. So the best splits is basically the fastest pace I've ever been on. Not my PB, but there are times where I've been going faster than my PB, but then the run died somewhere, so it ended up not beating my personal best. So the best run that I've ever had that didn't PB was 12 seconds faster than this run currently is. The reason for that is actually because there's a cycle on Honeymoon Lagoon. You have to go up the elevator to beat the level, and that elevator is on a 12-second cycle. So I finished the level basically 1 cycle slower than the fastest I've ever done. And that's why it's 12 seconds. Anyway, that number will change all the time every time we beat a level, I guess. And then below that is the best possible time. So that's taking the run as is, and then assuming that I beat every level the fastest I've ever done it, then I could theoretically right now get a 2:01.38. That's not going to happen, but it just represents the upper ceiling of what I'm capable of. And so all of these are basically just indicators for me and for viewers as to how good or how bad this run is doing, and what are the odds that I might actually get a PB. And that last number, the PB chance, actually is sort of the odds that I'll get a PB in this run. It's a new statistic that I think I started using basically just a week before this run, and so I hadn't really gotten a good feel for what it does, or how accurate it might be, or how useful it is, but it's a fun number to have, so it's staying there for now. Right now it says I have a 1% chance of PBing, or 1 in 94. And we'll see how that changes as the run progresses. Oh, I should say in Honeymoon Lagoon I did swap into the Fox and then right back out, because the Fox only exists on Honeymoon Lagoon, and yeah, you need to play as every animal. So the Fox is different than the Racing Fox, because the Racing Fox has wheels instead of legs. So you have to play as both the Fox and the Racing Fox. And then I also swapped into the Spring Sheep and back out of it right away, because it's also useless. But yeah, it's just convenient to do it on Honeymoon Lagoon for a variety of reasons. So I did it there. The battery farm featured a lot of tricks we call Hitbox extension, which is where things that I did as the Spring Ram, where the headbutt ability of the Spring Ram extends your hitbox through things, so you can go through walls and even onto shore from the water, where your body can't normally go, but the headbutt attack can go there, and so you can hit various switches or collect power cells through walls, and I did that a bunch of times. But this was a really good battery farm, if you see here.
Battery farm continues to be good to me.
I saved 18.6 out of a possible 21.
Amazing.
And the battery farm is quite a complicated level. There's a lot that can go wrong. Very difficult to play perfectly, even though you can play it quite well. There's a lot of small optimizations and a little bit of randomness that sort of doesn't go your way all the time. Engine room, there I started doing actually a little bit suboptimal movement on purpose, because that helps you time getting that dog to get stuck on the computer. And then right here, this is called the cutscene skip. I'm going to blow up this computer, get the cell, swap out of the animal, and swap back into it as the cutscene starts. Normally, you lose control of your animal when a cutscene starts, but if you're swapping into an animal as the cutscene starts, then you actually get to keep control of your animal, and you can move during the cutscene. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get to an area where there are these computers, and so it's really fast. So this bear is a big jerk. I call it Sir Barrington III, killer of runs. It kills many runs. You can see it took me down to below half health. And it can attack you there. It can also attack you right here, but it didn't this time because I sort of got it stuck in a cave. And then it can get out of the cave and attack you right here. And it does. So this is quite frustrating, and you can see that if things don't go so well for me, then I'm dead. What I was doing there was trying to recoil off the wall and hit a computer that's up on the cliff. And it's a little bit tricky to do that when the bear is attacking you. So I had to do 3 attempts. Not great, but I survived. These computers have power cells in them, but you have to blow all of them up as well to get the trophy to spawn. And so here I swapped into the rat during the cutscene, and so I get the cutscene movement, and I can collect the trophy before the cutscene even ends. So yeah, there's 2 reasons to blow up the computers here. One to get the trophy, and one to get the power cells. Took a bit of a break there, but we're back. The break obviously got cut out of the video, but yeah. One last thing I'll point out is in the bottom left I have my input display, so that you can see exactly which buttons I'm pushing. It doesn't work perfectly. Sometimes it might be a little bit delayed relative to
no rookie mistakes.
What I'm doing, or if I'm spamming a button, the spam doesn't show up quite as fast as I'm spamming, maybe, or consistently. But there it is. This trick is called Leap of Dog.
Easy level.
You can die there. So there I actually tied my PB, which is really good. My PB played the engine room, my previous PB I should say. Played the engine room really well. And that time I also remember I got attacked by the bear quite a lot. And so I was expecting to lose time, but
I guess
everything else was quite good.
If it didn't, I would have golded or something
so yeah.
like that.
So Fat Bear Mountain, this is the level that has the glitched trophy. We made it a rule that even though you can't pick it up, you have to spawn it and you have to walk through it. So that if you could pick it up, then you would have picked it up. That's just, you know, to try to satisfy the completionist, I guess, and to go through the motions, at least, of doing as much as possible in the game. Another benefit of that is that somebody actually made a ROM fix for this game that pretty much just fixes that trophy. That's the only thing that it does. The rest of the game stays the same, and so we actually made it allowable to do the 99% speed run with that ROM fix.
I don't know about that.
Which actually allows you to get 100%, and you can pick up the trophy.
Not the best category.
And so these two categories, 99% and 100%, compete together because you do the same thing regardless.
But I guess it's harder to enjoy.
And there's no difference in the route. There's no difference in time, or if there is, it's relatively small. But yeah, here's the trophy, and so I'm going through it, and you can see that I touched it. So if I would have been able to collect that, then I would have collected it. Yeah. Coming up here is another cutscene skip. This one's a little bit different because you start it by hitting this switch, but there's no animal around to swap into. So I swapped out, hit the switch as Evo, and then swap back into it. So now I can kill the bear during this cutscene.
Imagine.
Instead of having to wait. And I just pointed out there on the live stream that I'm on my best pace ever by 4.5 seconds, which is quite nice.
Left, right, Z, left, Z,
so right here I'm entering a cheat code to switch the bear into the juggling bear, and again, we don't take this too seriously, so we made it a requirement that you have to use a cheat code, because if the goal is to play as every animal, well, why not play as the juggling bear as well? And you can only do that by entering a cheat code.
As long as up dog doesn't
to turn the bear into the juggling bear. And so yeah, and then you swap out and back into it, because it's not enough to play as the animal, you have to swap into the animal.
Get up there.
That trick is called up dog. We also do it in Stinky Sewers, but it's way easier to do in Stinky Sewers than it is in Fat Bear Mountain. And I lost a lot of time because it wasn't working for me.
Could have been better, though.
But if that had gone well, that would have been really close to my best pace ever. Or my best time ever for that level, I mean.
Still my best pace ever. Could have been worse, too. Yes, yes.
Yeah, so Rocky Hard Place,
that's loser talk.
The entire level gets trivialized by first jumping over that electric fence to kill the spring ram. Basically skipping everything you have to do in this level. And then second, by turning off the gravity using the gravity clip, which you just saw there. So now the level becomes trivial to move through, and so you can just sort of collect all of the power cells in any order. That swap out and swap back in is a little bit funny, that when you get out of the water as the spring ram, for some reason you can't jump. And it takes like maybe 2 or 3 seconds for you to be able to jump again. I don't know why, but that's just the case. And so instead you can swap out and swap back in, which lets you jump again just a little bit faster than if you would wait. And here I swap out to collect the power cells as Evo, otherwise I'd have to jump everywhere to collect the power cells, which is not as fast as doing it as Evo, because jumping takes time to land again. There is a lot of optimization that you can do in this level by focusing on how high you jump. Because obviously if you only have to travel a little bit of distance, then you don't really need to jump very high to travel that distance. But if you jump too high, then you have to sit there and wait for yourself to land, and that's slow. So if you can jump the optimal height, then you're good to go. So there, you know, the puzzle in this level is basically to turn the gravity switch off, which you're not supposed to do the way I did it with the gravity clip. There's a different
best pace ever.
Unintended way that it's supposed to happen.
Hard to believe that.
And then you can only collect the trophy if you can jump high enough due to the gravity being off. But yeah, that's why that trophy seemed a little bit simple to grab. So Stinky Sewers, we start off with the up dog strat by pushing this barrel into the water. But like I said, this one is a lot easier than the one in Fat Bear Mountain, at least.
And this is without
so
Legend Cycle.
It can still screw you sometimes, but it's not a big deal usually. Probably because there's not as much distance upward you have to travel.
Dog wanted to fail there. You could see it trying to fail.
Yeah, Stinky Sewers is maybe one of the longest levels in the game, 99% wise, because
Go away, King Rat.
It's kind of designed as a maze, and there's a lot of power cells at various ends of the maze. So there's a bunch of different paths that you have to go down, and none of them connect with each other. So you basically have to get from the start of the level, you have to go somewhere, collect something, go back to the start of the level, go down the next path, collect something, go back to the start of the level, go down another path, back to the start of the level. And so it's not very fluid. And if you want a speedrunning hot take, this is the reason why completionist categories aren't very good. Because a lot of this stuff is just sort of padding and not very interesting, right? Like moving through this tunnel isn't very exciting as a speedrunner. It's probably not that exciting as a viewer. It's just not interesting gameplay. And it doesn't have any skill differentiation between the best players and the worst players. That tunnel actually does have a little bit because you're turning around, but there are some times where you're just walking in a straight line. And everybody can walk in a straight line at the same speed. So it doesn't really do anything. It just sort of lengthens the run without any exciting gameplay, any interesting gameplay, any skill differentiation. There's nothing going on. And that's SSSV, but that's probably many other...
But that's hard to do.
Every other game, I should say. Whatever. Hot takes. So yeah, this trick here is actually one of the oldest tricks in the game, I think. We don't do it in any percent anymore because there's a faster way to do it. But in 99%, it's still valuable. You can basically skip playing as the fox by going through the little opening in the wall as Evo, and then hoping that the rats will kill each other.
In this run now it's all up to me.
So that's fun that it's still around. Yeah, the trophy in this level is spawned by eating all of the poop, I should say. So that's why we're running around eating the poop, which also heals you every time you bite it. So it doesn't heal you a lot, but it does heal you. Yeah, this is an example of where you're just walking in a straight line and there's just nothing going on, really. Everybody can do this section as fast as everybody else because you just go in a straight line. Not very interesting, and it takes like half a minute. So yeah, I'm not a fan of completionist categories normally. And that goes for any game, not just SSSV. Because most of the stuff that's in there is just not fun. Not fun. It's mostly just there to pad the game for no reason. So yeah, down a path, get a cell, go back, down a different path, get a couple more cells, go back. That's the category. This fox is really annoying. You have to kind of take a specific path to avoid it and eat the poop. If you try to eat the poop right away, the fox will get in your way, and instead of eating the poop, you'll bite the fox, and that doesn't... You're not allowed to do both at the same time. So it basically prevents you from eating the poop. And then afterwards, you have to sort of take a weird angle to get up that slope. otherwise you sort of get stuck halfway up. Whatever. During this cutscene, you can actually move without having to swap out of your animal and swap back in. So I was trying to optimize my movement there a little bit. Right, and that's an example of interesting gameplay, where there's skill differentiation. Interesting stuff happening. But yeah, this is a recently updated strat where in order to collect this poop, you collect it as Evo. We've been doing that for a long time. What changed is that I would now swap out of the King Rat before the bridge, whereas I used to do it after the bridge. And it's faster to do it before the bridge for a number of reasons that I won't get into. But that's an example of something where, you know, it's faster. It's not super exciting, but
another thing I like about it is that the rotation of the trophy
it's faster, right? And there's a lot of something that's so simple, like just do it before the bridge or after the bridge.
Is facing towards you.
That's an interesting thing about optimizing speedruns.
It's facing towards you when you pick it up.
A lot of people try to look for flashy tricks and whatnot, but if there are really simple things that anybody could do,
the trophy disappear. Almost a minute ahead.
If you're not doing those things, then you're just sort of deliberately going slow. And so that was an example of where I just wasn't doing it optimally. And to be fair, I don't think anybody was doing it optimally. That we just didn't know that going before the bridge was faster than going after the bridge. And now we do. So that's great.
This is the problem when you're ahead. It's just like...
Yeah, that's one of the interesting things I like about speedrunning, is that the big tricks are exciting, but there's all these small optimizations that people don't pay attention to that are actually more important than the big tricks that might save 2 seconds, right? So yeah, partly because I had basically just recently figured out that I got a gold split, so you can see my my negative 59.9, which means I'm almost a minute ahead of my PB at the moment, really fast. But it's gold instead of green. That's because that's the fastest I've ever played Stinky Sewers. And part of that reason is because of, you know, the new bridge strat. So this rat fight, or the fox fight, is a little bit random, and that's one of the reasons why Randomness is hard to save time in. You need a fox, and you need a rat. And so you have to have one, or you have to have one of each die. I should point out there that that's the Fox, or the Racing Fox new animal cutscene, despite the fact that I had already played the Racing Fox in both the Engine Room and Rocky Hard Place. I have never swapped into a Fox until just now, and so now I've officially encountered the Racing Fox species.
I was like, something's really weird here.
But yeah, the fox fight there, basically what I do is I kill a fox as fast as possible, and then I just stand around and hope that the other 2 foxes will kill a rat.
I'm thinking about the game screwing me over with this boost.
And that's just sort of up to the game, mostly. But this time around, it worked out pretty nicely. This boost also is difficult. It's just not really designed all that well, honestly. So beginners will fail it. Experienced players will fail it. It doesn't really matter how good you are at the game. That jump is just not... It's not designed properly as far as I'm concerned.
Unless it somehow kills me.
Anyway, this Randomness actually has a trick in it that was identified by somebody, a comment in one of my Things You Can Do videos, for the one for Randomness. It was Dark Pie identified that you can spawn power cells by putting a dead mouse in this door frame. What you're supposed to do in this level is save the 5 mice by blowing up the Randomness, and then they will open this door for you. And every time one of them goes in the door, you'll get a power cell. So 5 power cells total. First of all, you can actually skip that by just sort of squeezing through a hole in the wall. And second of all, you can put a dead mouse in the sort of entrance to the mouse hole.
3.
And that will cause a power cell to spawn as well. So what I'm doing is I'm positioning myself inside the mouse hole, swapping out of the animal, which causes it to become a dead mouse that then
4.
Can activate the trigger to spawn the power cell. And then swapping back into it before that happens, and so the mouse disappears and moves into the mouse cave while I'm swapping into it, and that's why it sort of looks like I travel through space here.
6.
Because the location that I have to swap to has changed, I guess.
7.
So we need 7 power cells here in the optimal route. And the reason why this is fast, even though it seems kind of slow, is because there are lengthy cutscenes involved with going into the Ratomatic and then again going back out of the Ratomatic, or having blown up the Ratomatic, I should say. So if those cutscenes didn't exist, this strat wouldn't be faster.
Nice.
But
that
cutscene does exist, and so this strat is way faster. And that was actually the fastest I've ever done that whole technique. It's still relatively new, so we're not the best at it. But that was the best I've ever done. And so again, we've got another gold split. And now we're a minute 16 ahead of my PB. And also 43 seconds faster than my fastest Europe ever, which is crazy to think of. But yeah, that strat from DarkPie is now part of the speedrun. And it probably will be for a long time, and maybe for forever, really. So DarkPie, if you're watching, thank you, and you've contributed to the 99% speedrunning route, whether you knew it or not. It's a good trick, and yeah, it also goes to show that anybody can participate in speedrunning in a sense. Even just by sharing some knowledge that they have about the game that maybe other people don't know about. You never know if you know something that nobody else does.
I'm pretty sure that's
so if you know something, you might as well share it.
Ever.
I know a lot about this game, but I don't know everything. And so
partly because that's by far
I might know it, but I might not.
And then also because
and if I don't, even if it's not useful, it might still be interesting. And it also might be useful. And then YouTube can be part of speedrunning history. Glorious.
Strategy for that.
You can shoot the dogs through the wall there. Your bullets travel through the wall. So do the enemy dogs, but that doesn't really matter. And so the fastest way to kill the dogs is to group them up behind the wall and just sort of blast them.
That was bad.
This was not a good give a dog a bonus
in
any sense of the word. I sort of screwed up the fox kills. And then when I got that boost, I instantly hit another dog, and the dog sort of stole all of my momentum.
Oh,
then I missed the trophy. Not great.
That was really bad. Still going to be a minute ahead of my
So yeah,
PB.
a good run for me here would be like a 2:35 or a 1:25. Sorry, a 1:25. Average is like a 1:29.
How is any of this possible?
And a 1:35 basically never happens to me because of how bad it is.
Doesn't make sense.
So that was terrible, but I'm still a minute ahead, and I'm still 37 seconds ahead of my best time ever. Ultimately, give a dog a bonus.
Sometimes you stare at your splits and you think
is not the most important level in the game, because the most time you lose is like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Whereas other levels, you can just sort of casually lose 20 seconds and still consider it to be a pretty good run. But yeah, right now I have about a 7.6% chance of PBing. According to the game, so 1 in 13-ish runs.
I probably missed a power cell, probably. My score looks right though. It does look right.
So it's no joke. There's basically one trick here
so disheartening.
that allows you to get to a section of the level that you're supposed to be the rabbit.
But let's leave that.
That's a slope jump right there, and that allows you to jump a little bit higher than you need to.
Right now, let's be
but since you're not really supposed to be the husky here, that level is not designed for the husky, and so it's actually really hard to move. These platforms have like really screwed up hitboxes, and the jump heights are all off. It's just
the dumbest jump.
it's very frustrating, and so I played that quite poorly. And now I'm feeling a little bit bad because I had just screwed up Give a Dog a Bonus, and now I'm screwing up Snow Joke, neither of which are hard levels. My PB also screwed up Snow Joke, so I'm probably not going to lose that much time.
That section was like...
But I was expecting to save,
like
10 seconds, up to 12 seconds here, because Snow Joke is not hard. But yeah, I just screwed up 2 easy levels in a row, and now I'm feeling a little bit down. I used to be hyped coming out of Ratomatic, but...
So let's design it so that if you get here
not
as any other animal,
this looks really weird, but it's actually entirely intended. The puzzle, if you would want to call it that, for spawning the trophy or getting to the trophy is to hit a switch that turns off the lights in this level, and when you turn off the lights, a platform appears, or rather the platform becomes visible.
Random hitboxes
but that platform still exists even if the lights are on. And so I know where that platform is, and I can just sort of jump onto it without having to turn the lights off first. So it might look funky, but it's entirely intended. And again, we also use this platform. It's the same platform. It just happens to take a route that carries you over top of the teleporter as well.
Still best pace ever.
So it looks maybe like a really crazy glitch, but it's 100% intended.
I'm gonna lose a lot of time here, though.
So yeah, there I only lost 5 seconds, but again, I should have saved like 10. So not very happy.
That's just inevitable.
It doesn't necessarily mean that losing time is always the worst thing. So for example, if you look at my best my possible time save right now, it says 0.00. Because my previous PB, the one I'm racing against right now, played this level the fastest I've ever played it. And Ice and Easy Does It is a very difficult level to save time in. So here I'm almost certain to lose time, and as long as I lose like 20 seconds or less, I'm pretty happy with it. The reason why it's so random is because of the walruses. In order to spawn the trophy, you have to kill all 3 walruses. And they can end up anywhere in the level, really. Well, not anywhere in the level. Anywhere in this ice ring, technically. But if you have to waste a lot of time looking for them, then that's really slow. And sometimes the walrus fights go very poorly, and that's really slow. And sometimes the walruses group up with each other so that the bombs that you drop on them actually hit more than one at the same time. And that's really fast. That rarely happens, though. I think it almost happens in this run. Let's see. Yeah, right there. You see the one walrus drives right past the other. And so if I had been in a position to drop bombs there, I could have done twice as much damage as normal by hitting 2 walruses.
This is very messy.
And so now I have to basically kill each walrus one at a time. So I knew where this one was because I saw it driving off in the distance.
All worked out.
But I don't know where the third one is, and so now I might have to spend a lot of time.
Way off in the other area.
But I did find it pretty quick, but it's still a little bit of like traveling time. Ideally, it would have been sort of right beside that one. But I didn't take that long. The other thing is where you kill the last walrus. There are 2 sort of good spots, and this is one of the good spots.
Not the worst spot for to die.
It's actually the second best spot. And the reason for that is because there's a row of power cells that's sort of convenient, and that trophy as well.
I slid there.
So if you collect that trophy and then this power cell, then you can sort of loop around the outside of this level.
Really good, but because I didn't know to
and just sort of collect power cells in a nice path.
It wasn't the worst.
And so by starting as close to that trophy as possible, that's really good.
Just if I knew it was going to happen, I could have allowed.
If I had started farther away or in a completely different area of the level, then I would have a lot more travel time to get to the trophy to pick it up.
Alright, this was a decent level.
The other good spot is close to this power cell over here, which is just kind of off by itself and kind of a frustrating power cell in general.
Pretty decent spot.
But if you kill the last walrus close to that one, it's actually a little bit better because of basically the way the igloo is designed.
Lose time.
The igloo is open on the other side, and so there I had to fly over and around, whereas if I had collected that power cell first and then collected the trophy last, then I could have just flown straight into the igloo. But yeah, I only lost 12 seconds there, which is I'm quite happy with. So it's given me a little bit of, a little bit better feeling about this run compared to Snow Joke and Give It a Bonus. Yeah, so like in every other category of this game, you can kill the seagull before it flies away, and that's just way faster than anything else. The trophy spawns after you kill 3 fish, so I'm going to kill these fish. But first I need to swap into the walrus, and then immediately swap back out, because you have to play as every animal. And playing as the walrus in Wall Race doesn't count, because you didn't swap into it. Right? So yeah. So here I am killing the fish. It's fastest to do it as the seagull. I don't really remember why. I think it has something to do with... Well, actually it moves kind of fast in the water. Faster than the penguin. And it also has something to do with the power cells. So the penguin can't jump in the water, so you have to swap into the fish to collect the power cells. But with the seagull, you can collect the power cells without swapping into the fish. And so I think that's why it's faster than the penguin. I don't really remember. I just know that it is. We used to do it with the penguin, and then we switched because seagull's faster. You can also use the walrus to kill the fish, but that's really slow because the missiles are designed sort of to shoot upwards, not downwards. And so hitting the fish as the walrus is nearly impossible. So if you're not holding onto a penguin, then you can fly from the ground up to this ledge of the cliff and collect the trophy. And that's why we drop the penguin down the side of the thing. A trick I'm doing right here is called the super slide. If you start flying right before you land, then the downward momentum that you had from falling will still continue and cause you to hit the ground. But you'll also sort of be in a flying state. And the game doesn't really expect you to be in a flying state while on the ground. And so it's kind of screws the game up and gives you super slide abilities. This is, I guess, theoretically the fastest movement in the game if you have enough time to build up speed, but you never do. And so it's still fast, it's just not, you know, it's not the speed of light. There is one other situation where that's a thing. I'll talk about that in a bit, I guess. This polar tank kill. First of all, this is the best place to kill a polar tank so you can swap into it. It's also a little bit random because the polar bear can be anywhere in its cycle. But right here, it was in the perfect spot in its cycle where I could just start attacking it right away, and I wouldn't have to wait for it to walk up. So that was nice.
Movement.
And then here I'm going to use just 2 penguins, the seagull body, and then Evo to hit these 4 switches and melt the trophy, or melt the statue.
Fish kills were decent.
So yeah, in addition to the super slide, there's another thing where if you're playing as the dog in water and you use your bark attack, you can build up speed
here, I think.
Indefinitely as well. And so it sort of has the same properties as the seagull super slide. But again, there's nowhere in the game where you can sort of exploit that infinitely and build up an infinite amount of speed. So I think the dog actually builds up speed faster, but I don't think either of them actually has like a speed limit, if you say. But yeah, so here we are, going into Pinball Blizzard. We're back to a minute ahead, and we're 36 seconds ahead of my best pace ever. Which is actually amazing, because the day before this, on January 29, I also had a really good run, and I didn't think that I would be able to get that pace again so quickly.
No.
But one day later, here I am, not just having that pace again, but blowing that pace out of the water.
Oh well.
Yeah. The King Penguin fight in 99% is a little bit complicated, because you want to kill the penguin as close to the polar bear as possible, but you also need your 5 penguins to follow you so that they can kill the polar bear. And it's just hard to do that in any way that's fast. So it's really complicated.
Don't do it.
These penguins are also kind of random in terms of whether or not they decide they're going to hit the polar bear.
Unbelievable.
Very frustrating to watch. That was actually not bad, though.
So useless.
Overall. And now we do some walking. Fortunately, the pinball launcher is there to help speed things up. You can do double jumps as the polar bear by pushing A and B at the same time a bunch. I think you might even be able to do a triple jump, but triple jumps are even more precise. I guess it's actually a triple jump, quadruple jump, because the polar bear can double jump.
Earlier. I didn't think I was going to hit the snowball.
In an intended way. So you can triple jump by pushing A and B at the same time a bunch. Maybe quadruple jump.
I hit the snowball.
But yeah, right there, ideally I would have launched myself straight towards the husky, but I kind of failed. So I didn't. These
Sweet mercy.
snowballs that have the power cells in them kind of screwed me up, and that has to do with, I think, the when I was launching the polar bear, I hit one of the snowballs, and that sort of changed its position in a way that I've never really seen before. So I didn't really know how to react in that situation. And as a result, I sort of encountered this weird thing where I was stuck on that speaker, and I didn't really know how to react to that. So I made the decision to go around it to the right, which was, I think, the wrong decision. I should have gone around it to the left. But I didn't know at the time, since I've never encountered that before. So I made a decision and I went with it, and it was probably wrong. But it didn't end up costing me that much. But it's kind of frustrating when things don't work out in your favor.
But there's 31 seconds to save here, so I can't lose time.
There it is. There's 31 seconds to save. Yeah. I don't know what my PB did.
Now, my last runs have all gotten the climb, which means that the game... Actually, no, I switched cartridges. So surely RNG can't carry over from one cart to another. It's possible for RNG to carry over within the same cart. I don't think it'll carry over one cart to the other.
So yeah, there's 6 patterns that the piano can play. This one is called the Unnamed Tune.
I'll take it.
Which is a name that I like because it's a
unnamed tune.
It's a name, so the tune is named, but it's named the Unnamed Tune. There you go. This is the second fastest, and it's basically tied for the fastest. It's only slightly slower. The slowest one, I think, loses about 12 seconds. But yeah, here we have the second cutscene that plays, and might as well collect some power cells during it, doing a cutscene skip. And then you just sort of sit here and watch, I guess. Not really a lot to say during the piano section, unfortunately. My PB chance right now is 10%. That number skyrockets after jungle jumps, though. You'll see. When we get there, you'll see. But the reason for that is because jungle jumps...
How goes it?
A lot of runs just die in jungle jumps, and if they don't die, they lose a lot of time. Jungle jumps is a really hard level. And so basically, even if you beat jungle jumps, your chances of PBing go up. It almost doesn't even matter how fast you beat it, as long as you beat it. Yeah, so here I swap out, swap in again as the cutscene starts. But this cutscene, despite how long it is, there's not a lot of time saved to do a cutscene skip here, because you have no idea where you are, and the camera is rotating. And so even if you did have an idea of where you are, your sense of direction is just entirely screwed up. So it's nearly impossible to move perfectly here as a human player. I think in my Things You Can Do video for Pinball Blizzard, I used this cutscene skip, and I did some tool assistance to help me, basically rewind and save state my way so that I could actually fly up to the trophy during the cutscene and actually even get on top of the UFO. So That's kind of fun.
Ba-dum-bum, ba-da-bum.
You can watch my Things You Can Do series. It's a fun little series if you are interested in things you can do in Space Station Silicon Valley.
You did. I was like, there's somebody. Somebody.
In addition to jungle jumps, the other like really frustrating level in 99% is Something Fishy. Because that level sometimes just decides that you're dead, and then you're dead. And it very much is that way.
This was a good level still.
So I'll point it out when we're there. But you'll see my PB chance increase quite a bit. Like here, it increased about 1.5% maybe. Almost 2%.
Okay.
From 10 to 11.9.
It's a pretty natural speed game. Racing games are pretty natural speed games.
But it should go up quite a bit at the end of Something Fishy. That was a decent pinball blizzard, despite my complaints.
Versus
22 seconds saved instead of 30.
But or a shooter or an
that's
RPG.
Fine.
The traditional goal about those games is not necessarily to go fast. But a game about going fast? That's going fast in that is good.
So after this power cell, or I guess even after the next power cell, there's a trick that we do that basically you just fly through a wall. There's a hole in the wall
now this clip has been
right about here that you can just sort of fly through. You have to fly through that because the heli rabbits are programmed to start flying when you reach a certain point in this level. I don't really know where that point is, but it's somewhere. And so if you just take the normal path to them, they'll be flying, and then you can't butt stomp them to death. So you have to sort of go around that trigger. And then it stays on the ground, and you can butt stomp it really easily. So that's why we have to fly through that cliff. But yeah, interesting thing about that trick is that it's actually an NTSC 1.0 only trick. So they patched it in the PAL version of the game. And they did release a 1.1 version of this game, NTSC. It didn't fix the important things, but it fixed some things. And one of the things it fixed was that hole in the wall. I don't know how they knew about that hole in the wall, but they did, and they fixed it. So the fastest way to do 99% is using the 1.0 NTSC card.
Nice kill.
NTSC is faster than PAL in general, but you would specifically need a 1.0 card to do that trick. And I think that's the only version difference in the entire game. Minus the general PAL being slower than NTSC. This is frustrating right here, because this Husky is like...
What the heck, buddy?
Like, you see how that bomb landed directly on it, and it didn't take damage? So frustrating. This was a really good level up until that point. Now I'm really frustrated.
You hit him with like 40 bombs. They all decide they're not going to do damage.
Sometimes it'd be like that, though, you know. But there is, possible time save is 21.75 seconds. And so even though... And that bounce, too. What the heck was that? Unbelievable. I can't explain that bounce. It makes no sense.
Okay, that one Husky kill really put it down.
But yeah, I can still save time if I play the rest of this level well, just because of how poorly my previous PB had played it. I think the things that the 1.1 cart saved, or fixed, I should use, is basically, I thought the only thing it fixed was the expansion pack glitch. So this game is sort of known to freeze if you're using the expansion pack. That's not entirely true. There are certain situations where the game will freeze because you have the expansion pack. But it doesn't always freeze if you have the expansion pack. It just freezes more.
Should still save time. Just not 20 seconds.
And the game also can freeze
like
even
10.
if you don't have the expansion pack. You just have the jumper
9,
pack.
8.
So some people will characterize it as you can't play this game if you have the expansion pack, and that's just not true. I played this game for years
But it's not a
with
run.
the expansion pack,
To
and sometimes it
something
would
fishy.
freeze, and then I couldn't play it for like a day. And then I would play it again the next day, and it would be fine. So I don't know. But yeah, you can play this game with the expansion pack. It works. It just doesn't always work. And they managed to fix it so that the freezes due to the expansion pack
My PB
aren't-
actually had a really good fish.
don't happen anymore in the 1.1 version of the game.
Really hard.
But they
job
didn't
to
fix the
max this
trophy.
level.
The trophy you
To
still
the
can't
point of,
pick up.
Like I don't even really bother. I try to go
And again,
fast,
if you
but I
have the
don't
1.1
think about
card,
it actively.
you can still freeze the game.
I just mostly try
It's
not
just
to screw
that
up.
one specific freeze doesn't happen.
So who
Anyway,
knows where
that's
those 4
that.
seconds of time save
So
are.
something fishy, very frustrating level because of that
Could be
trophy.
anywhere.
There are 2 ways to pick up the trophy. One way is to use the walrus, and one way is
Could
to
be
use the
more
fish.
shot time to save
The
as well.
walrus is
My
ridiculously
goal is
slow
not to save
because in
time,
order to kill the
it's
walrus,
to
or in order to
survive.
do that, you have to kill the walrus, which is slow. And then you have to like lower the water and raise the water, and it's a nightmare. So you need to be the fish. First of all, there's this trick here. You can jump up this fence, and there's a hole in the floor here for some reason, but that's really fast.
Good.
You can take a small amount of damage there, and that amount of damage can be significant.
Lost kind of a lot of health there.
But yeah, the reason why it's so dangerous is because you have to pick up that trophy as the fish. And that trophy's on land, and the fish takes damage in land, and so sometimes you just get stuck on land, and you die. It depends on how the game behaves, really. There's a lot of random stuff that can happen. But before that, we have to do the cod escape, which looks like this. I got it first try, but if you miss it
Scot-free
the
races.
first time, every time you do it, you take a little bit of damage when you beach the
Is that like some sort of an English phrase?
pool cod. And if you
Like
fail to
English,
swap
like,
out, then
"Oh,
you
it
go
was
back into the
easy.
water.
It was free of Scottish. We were good.
And then you have to do it again and lose a little bit more damage.
There were no Scots
and then in
involved.
addition
It
to
was
that
great.
damage, you're taking damage the whole time as you're walking up here as Evo. And this again still is the fastest way because the other way to do it is using the walrus, and again the walrus is impossibly slow. So basically this whole sequence takes
'Cause otherwise it
almost
doesn't
half
make
of your
sense.
health. And so now, basically half health is the maximum you can have for this trophy grab. And yeah, depending on how the game behaves when I grab the trophy,
Come on, buddy.
you can lose all of your health. That was actually really good though.
Yeah,
The game
not even
was
close.
very kind to me.
Love to
Sometimes
see
it stops you in your tracks, and then when you start swimming towards the edge, the camera will just randomly do a 180 and force you to start swimming to the other edge, and then you just sort of die, and there's nothing you can do about it. But yeah, this time it worked out for me, and it was actually quite clean. This power cell right here is sort of like, there's like an invisible hitbox there, and it
That
just
power
like
cell
you can't
triggers me to this day.
you can't just sort of pick it up as easily as you
Why are
think.
the boxes like that?
It's you have to come at it at a very specific angle. Just kind of a quirky little thing. So yeah, I'm heading towards the exit now. And so my PB chance is a 13.02, 1 in 7. And after I beat the level, jumps up to almost
Imagine.
18%,
Remember when
almost
I said
5%
I
increase
don't know
just
what
from
the
one
time
level,
save
just
is?
from beating that level. I beat that
found it
level
anyway.
by more than I've ever done, or as fast as I've ever done. So it's another gold
Not only
split. That's
am
my third
I
gold
a minute
split this
40
run.
Ahead of my PB,
Pretty crazy.
I'm almost an entire minute ahead of my best ever.
Yeah. Closing in on 2 minutes ahead of my PB, closing in on a minute ahead of my best ever. That's really
I
fast.
definitely missed a power
Really
cell
fast.
somewhere. Bozan was right.
So yeah, wall race,
There's no
just
other
like
explanation.
Give a Dog a Bonus, just like Evo's Escape, just like Punch Up Pyramid and Big Celebration. Not like Big Celebration, great. But Punch Up Pyramid, Evo's Escape, Wall Race, and Give a Dog a Bonus are all the same regardless of what category you do, because there's no power cells, there's no hidden objectives. You just beat the level and you collect your trophy. And that's so every wall race is the same in every run. You just got to go as fast as possible, which I do. I think here I got the time bonus. Yeah, I do.
Time bonus. Let's go.
That's not necessarily a good thing. It's not really a bad thing either, though. That's just when you play this level with the optimal route, and you take that corner optimally, you kind of end up either bouncing off the wall or hitting that time bonus. Usually you bounce off the wall like this, but sometimes your angle is such that you'll hit the time bonus instead, and it's kind of fun, but you're never trying to do that. You're also never trying not to do that. If it happens, it happens. During this cutscene, you can pick up the trophy, and then you can
That's crazy.
move towards the teleporter during the
that's insane.
cutscene. And I actually get on the teleporter as the cutscene ends, which is pretty crazy fast. Pretty crazy fast. That was a good wall race.
Time bonus.
And now, yeah,
is that better?
almost a 19%.
The first task,
I guess actually my PB chance didn't change all that much, did it?
The second task, I don't.
But I guess that's because, yeah, wall race is generally speaking a non-issue. You can save or lose, you know, a little bit of time.
Getting that time bonus is not
5 seconds, 7 seconds, whatever.
I don't think.
But that's not really going to make or break your PB when there are other levels that will just straight up kill you or cause you to lose like a billion seconds.
You don't really try to grab it.
7 seconds doesn't matter in comparison to a billion.
But in a task, you can keep doing it over and over again until it works. So
good times.
You might as well. Okay, where are the failed
Jungle
points?
Japes only really has one critical time save moment.
Jungle jumps.
Otherwise, it's a pretty
and a little bit
tame level. In order to spawn the trophy, you need to push these 3 boulders into 3 holes down this hill.
Japes is pretty chill.
And so,
you just want to
what I'm trying to do is throw these. You push the first one down the hill, and it always lands in the hole. And you're trying to throw the other 2 so that they do land in the hole as well. But here I failed, unfortunately.
Dang it.
And so I'm going to lose time. But my PB also failed that, and so I might lose less time relative to my PB. But yeah, the rest of this level is quite easy. You're just sort of walking in a straight line.
The river?
So there it is.
I don't get it. Like, it's pretty precise overall. And it's like sometimes you want to position the hippo really close to you, sometimes you want to position it really far away from you, depending on which jump you need to be easier. Did I actually miss this boulder? Shoot.
Yeah, so one of the reasons why this is frustrating is because it's really hard to...
This part
like, the boulders will almost always end up in the same pit.
So much. Like, you can't get these boulders
if they don't end up in different pits. And so... it's easy to push a boulder out of a pit, but if there's 2 boulders in a pit, then that becomes really difficult to push them out.
Like, to the point where it's almost better if you don't.
But yeah, I've spawned the trophy.
Just
technically, I think it's actually worse to push the boulders out of the pit.
Because pushing those boulders
during that part, I should have done it a little bit later.
No.
After hitting the switch by the heat pump or whatever it is. Here's a nifty little trick. If you position yourself horizontally along that red flower, and you can pick up both power cells as they spawn, that's kind of fun.
No! What the heck?
So that was really dumb. The switch just decided to push me into the heat section, which rarely happens, but it happened there. But yeah, you hit that switch as Evo and then swap back into the hyena.
That's all you can say about that.
This is probably the part where I should have pushed the boulders. But maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so you're just trying to do a cutscene skip there.
Oh well. I'm losing time here. It's what the SSSV gods demanded.
This jump is kind of precise for no reason. A lot of the jumps in this game, the platforming in SSSV, is a little bit more precise than it really should be, in my opinion. And sometimes you feel like you almost need a frame perfect jump in order to do something. And it's a jump that's like entirely intended. You're supposed to do it this way.
Still alive, eh?
But it's just way too frame perfect.
I'll play your game.
And a lot of the speedrunning in this game is basically trying to avoid the platforming sections. And anything that you can do to skip a platforming section is just faster.
A lot of time here.
It's to the point where the any percent run basically has almost no platforming at all. Despite this being a puzzle platformer type game. Though it's more of a puzzle game than a platformer. I think.
No longer almost a minute ahead.
Oof, that was a really bad level. Goodness gracious. 13 seconds lost out of a possible to 18 seconds, or out of 8 seconds possible to save. That's not great at all. Oh well.
One nice thing about 99% doldrums is that the hippo kill is really easy. And, like, not stressful at all. I guess it's not supposed to be that difficult in any percent either.
So there's 2 power cells in the river
you still,
by
like,
the logs.
Struggle with it a little bit.
Then you use the hippo to hit the switch to activate the log ride as well. One thing that you try to do here is you put the hyena on the hippo's back, and then you enter the water at a specific angle to try to put the hyena in a specific spot, and that way when the log ride turns on, the log will push the hyena towards you. And that looks something like this. Very nice. Very nice.
Because there's health.
Otherwise you'd have to walk down the river to swap into the hyena. It's not great.
You're gonna grab
so this jump here is kind of precise. You can use this. Mostly we just do it because this power cell is here and that is kind of convenient.
Oh my goodness, I almost slid off the edge there.
But that jump is kind of precise. But you have to position the hippo properly. So here, I think this ends up being kind of sloppy.
Get on the elephant, dude. Come on. Go. What the heck?
Is it sloppy? What happens? Yeah, I fell there. If I didn't fall there, or if I used the elephant, then that would have been fine. But the whole thing was kind of sketchy. Whatever. It's not a big deal. At least I didn't die, and I didn't screw up the jump over the river with the hippo.
I just gotta play nice with the pusher things.
One of my recent runs, I decided I was just going to try to YOLO it across these pusher, whatever they are, obstacles. It didn't go my way. I just sort of died. And it was, yeah, definitely a bad decision, but I felt like it at the time, so I did it, and my run died. Yeah. So there is an invisible bridge here. There are various things you can do to like make it a little bit visible. You can turn on the water machine to see where the water splashes. You can kill the turtle and use the turtle's tank shells to see where your bombs explode. Or you can use the elephant and use its water spray to see where the water will land. But since I know where the invisible bridge is, generally, I can jump across it as the hyena without having to see it.
Alright, good level. Could have been gold pace.
I guess this is a spot where the developers start getting a little bit more lazy. They just sort of put the power or put the trophy somewhere. There's no objective really. Like you have to play as the parrot as a primary objective to spawn the teleporter. And so getting that trophy, all it requires is the parrot, and then you just have to fly around somewhere. I don't know. The developers sort of got lazy towards the end of this game. I'll be the first to admit that. Yeah, but my PB really screwed that one up, and so there was 30 seconds of time to save. I saved 23. I could have saved more if I didn't screw up the elephant section.
There we go.
But
another good hyena kill.
It was a good level otherwise. So now I'm almost 2 minutes ahead. Looking good.
Whatever game.
This trophy is, in my opinion, the meanest trophy in the game.
Okay, Swamp's a little bit scary. Even yesterday when I was on
like, either you know that you can do this and you do it and it's really easy, or you don't know that you can do this and you will never find the trophy in this level. And there's like no in between. There's no hint that there's anything around the corner of that.
Unlike Whirlwind Tour.
So either you check or you don't. And there's nothing that's like, I almost figured it out. No, there's nothing to figure out there. You just do it or you don't. And it just, yeah, it's not a great trophy. Because again, developers kind of got lazy towards the end of the game. The level design in the jungle is still decent, but it's the hidden objectives start to get a little bit worse. Or not worse, I don't know, just low effort.
We're gonna need to...
So yeah, you jump out of your animal and back into it to recharge your laughing energy way faster. Evo recharges energy faster than the hyena does, so that's why you swap out and swap back in. You also keep the gorillas off screen because then they stay in their laughing state and you can kill them faster that way. Good times. So there's the gorilla jump. I discussed the gorilla jump in my Swamp of Eternal Stench things you can do episode, so you can check that out. And then here there are 3 power cells, actually 4 power cells that you're supposed to get by riding the magic rope, but that's slow. Good. And so we know where they are, and instead of riding the magic rope, we're going to do gorilla jumps to pick them up.
Good.
This is really risky though. You can take fall damage. Unless you land on the gorilla's shoulders, you'll take half of your health and fall damage. And this third one, you have to position yourself in the swamp. So it's like really scary.
Good. Good.
But we're surviving. So this swamp can kill you. It shouldn't if you know what you're doing. But even if you know what you're doing, sometimes it still does. So that's 3 of the 4. The 4th one is actually deep in the swamp, so you can't just use a gorilla jump to get it. And it's actually
just one more
right over top of a part of the swamp that basically insta-kills you.
This jump hasn't screwed me over in a while.
And so the strategy instead is to push a gorilla over here with the barrel. And instead of doing a gorilla jump, you just jump on the barrel and then use the gorilla to pick up the cell.
Because most areas in the swamp are not instant death plains, but right under that power cell seems to be an instant death plane.
Another good thing about that is you need a gorilla here to do another gorilla jump to get the last 2 power cells, which are on the vine section
that's be the
up
most
to the
damaging
magic rope.
area of the swamp, right under that cell.
And there it is. So the last thing we do here to get to the teleporter, instead of riding the magic rope, we do
there's only one more thing that can kill me.
Evo launch. Which you do basically by holding B for a little bit as the turtle. And then you can swap out of the animal and it sort of launches you. I don't know. I don't feel like explaining that right now. It's a little bit difficult to explain.
Yeah, right behind.
But it looks like that.
Well, that's...
I was almost a perfect level.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't really know where that area is.
I saved like 19 out of a possible 20 seconds.
Right behind the gorilla sign.
So there's a lot of horns outside right now.
There. Yeah, that just
that might come through in the audio. but it's too late.
So that if you try to get out, you die. It's different. But the exclamation mark sign is in a different spot in the level.
So my PB over this chance, my PB chances have increased to 33.95.
Like one of these days.
So we've got a 1 in 3 chance of PBing
try to grab this power cell.
That's pretty
without
good.
Using the rope. We'll show them. Instant death play.
Wait for it. The level design improved again a little bit. There's a little bit more effort into the trophy, and I feel like it sort of has to do with the theme of the level. The theme of the level is mostly to do with this little elephant, or not elephant, the elevator section. So there's this elevator right here, and in order to keep it raised up,
then you can't YOLO fish.
Or actually, no, you don't keep it raised up, but you need to use it, lower it down to raise a different elevator, and carry a lion up here.
The gorilla, basically.
So it has to do with weights and like counterbalances and whatnot. And boulders are heavy, so they're weights. So yeah, throwing boulders through the rings is not exactly off-brand for the level.
But you might take damage from like a rolling boulder.
There's only 2 throws that are dangerous. The one was on top of the tree, and the other one is this one right here. If you miss it, it ends up in the water, and then you have to just go find another boulder. If you miss the one from on top of the tree, though, then your run is basically just dead. There's no way to recover from that. At least no way that doesn't lose you, like, 3 minutes. So, yeah. We've noticed that jumping as the gorilla is slightly faster than just walking, and that's why I jump a lot of places. It's not that much faster though, so it's like if you're familiar with Super Metroid, it's maybe more like the arm pumping in Super Metroid, where every now and then you'll save a frame or two, but
is no new animal cutscene
whatever.
For the elephant. When you swap into it there, getting better at the game every day.
So yeah, more gorilla jumps, because gorilla jumping is fast, and it skips platforming sections. You're good to go. My Things You Can Do video in Wait For It covers the hump jump, which is coming up here. We have to do the hump jump because there's a power cell up there, and you can get it easier as the hyena, which can jump higher than the lion, but then you have to kill a hyena, and that's really slow. So we just sort of do it as the lion and hope that the hump jump works. This level can be a little bit risky because you ideally want to do a YOLO fish to get to the teleporter.
Probably shouldn't kill
and that can take a lot of damage. So if you take damage in other spots, then you might
just as long as it
die.
doesn't screw you over.
And since it's 99%, you're doing a lot more, and so there's a lot more opportunities for you to take damage. So it's more dangerous in 99% than in any percent.
Or at least not recently.
But usually it's fine. Wait For It is not a particularly dangerous level. But yeah, that was the YOLO fish, and now we just have to collect 2 power cells.
But when you're talking about,
and then you're good to go.
You know,
that was a gold. Oh, I didn't remember that I golded. Wait For It.
Speed.
Wow. All right, so that's 4 golds
this
round.
Probably not do that.
Very nice.
Because that's pretty massive.
So yeah, 45% chance to PB right now.
It doesn't kill you.
It's almost a coin flip.
Not that bad, but the time save is pretty small too.
Now we're in jungle jump. So even like with the time save I have, 2.5 minutes.
Let's say that.
I could probably die in jungle jumps, restart it, and then carry on. But yeah, so there you swap into the chameleon and just swap right back out because it's kind of useless. Another Evo launch here. It didn't work, so I had to do it again. So jungle jumps is dangerous for a variety of reasons, mostly to do with fall damage from all of the jumps that you have to do, which are not the jumps that the game is named or the level is named after.
Die.
They're like unintended jumps.
Got him.
And fall damage is nasty in this game. It takes half your health. It actually takes, I think, like 49% of your health. So if you're at 100% health, you can survive twice, but you'll be at like 0 health still. You're really alive, but you'll be basically dead. So the first jump is the key jump, which we do in every category in this game because collecting the cells or collecting the key as the gorilla is really slow. And that involves sort of angling yourself off of that slope. I really screwed that jump up.
Goodness gracious.
But I reacted properly and survived.
It was not meant to go that way. But I saw the way it was going and I reacted properly. Which is pretty rare for that. Key jump, usually reacting properly because you don't have a lot of time to think about what's actually happening.
And then from here, you fall off this tree in a specific way so that you can hit that key. There, I get the health. Probably didn't need it, honestly, but I'm super paranoid. Here, you do a little jump to get that ring that I just went through. This trick is really dumb. I hate this trick. This was found by C#. And you can ricochet off of the wall. It's very precise. Very precise. But you can do a ricochet here and hit the ring.
I don't think this is it. Nailed it.
You nailed it. You also notice I got it, which is really good. You need that. But if you miss, or even if you do get it, it doesn't really matter. You take fall damage, right? And so basically, if you fail it, you take fall damage. And then it doesn't matter if you succeed the second time, because the second time, you take fall damage and you die. So you basically, like, you only really have one chance, and it sucks. I hate it. But that's the real reason why jungle jumps. Like, key jump is a thing, but there's probably like an 80% success rate on key jump. But that, whatever ring jump, I guess we can call that, it doesn't really have a name. That jump is stupid.
Oh, what? Dude's aggro.
So I missed 2 missiles there as the guy jumped, but then they'll wrap around right here and kill the guy. I like that.
I like that the hyena's missiles...
Like, the hyena's missiles last for so long.
Go long enough that they wrap around and still hit the guy.
And the fact that the homing is that, like, strong, they'll be like, no, we're gonna hit this gorilla. We're gonna hit this gorilla. It doesn't matter how long it takes.
That's an optimization that I don't care about because I'm doing really good right now.
There is a trick you can do here where you grab that energy box and carry it with you to this tree, and then do a gorilla jump right here to collect the power cell. But gorilla jumps with Evo, with boxes, are very inconsistent, and so I just don't even bother. Gorilla jumps with boxes using animals, consistent. Gorilla jumps using Evo, using barrels, consistent.
Oh, I didn't kill it on the far end.
But with a box and with Evo, it's no good. So there I'm charging an Evo launch. The longer you hold B, the farther Evo launches. And so here I charge even again another one, and I charge this one the full way because I am going to launch myself through this barrier here. But yeah, watch my PB chance right here. 45%.
That was a good level. That was a really good level.
72%. Like
72% chance to
my chance has increased like 80% there.
When it was 60%, we screwed it up. Let's see what happens when it's 70%.
So yeah, what I was talking about there is my run on January 29, which was also incredibly good, had a 60 I think it was exactly 60% chance of PBing, and I ended up not PBing. So here we're at 70, so we're doing slightly better because we're actually at this point a minute and a half ahead of my run on January 29. So this is crazy. Crazy fast. And that was a really good jungle jumps. I saved 11 out of a possible 17 seconds. So
if I slide my foot along it the wrong direction,
not much more you could say about that. That's really good.
It's terrible.
Evo's Escape, of course, is a entirely time waste level, I guess.
But it looks like there's a new part that's falling.
You can only play this level like slightly faster or slightly slower, depending on how much lag you get, and that's pretty much it. And it's like plus or minus 2 seconds.
When you find the cheapest place to rent in Vancouver.
So, in the context of an 80% run, those 2 seconds might matter a little bit, but in the context of a 99% run,
say it's affordable, but it's not great.
Where it's 2 hours long, in any other level, you're going to lose like 30 seconds or save 30 seconds. 2 seconds is entirely irrelevant. It just doesn't matter. This is just a level that you have to beat because you have to beat it. And actually, I think when I beat this level, my PB chance actually goes down. But that actually has nothing to do with how I play, because I actually play this level. I save time, so it's fine. But I think the way it was described to me, how the PB chance is calculated, is that every time you split, it updates. And when it updates, it simulates 10,000 runs based on other runs that you've done. And then however many of those runs end up being PBs gives you your PB chance.
We'll probably be able to view the
But since the 10,000 runs that are simulated
we'll see if it goes well.
After I split are different than the ones I have simulated from the previous split.
I have to deal with fun in the
Sometimes they just randomly end up being slightly worse, right? And so even though I play better, my PB chance sort of goes down nominally, and so the PB chance is not actually great. It's not perfect, I guess I should say, but it does it good enough. You know, the difference between 72.69 and like 72.48,
I think from there it's pretty
I don't know what it becomes after I split, but it doesn't really matter, right? It's basically the same, which is actually true because Evo's Escape doesn't matter. You're going to beat Evo's Escape 100% of the time. You're never going to lose any amount of time that matters, and so your PB chance should basically be the same coming out of Evo's Escape as it is going in. So in that sense, the PB chance actually works quite well. You just have to like not dig into the numbers because the numbers don't really matter. It's more about the tens instead of the single digits. So there's a difference between 60% and 70%, but there's not a difference between 72% and 71%. At least my understanding of it right now. We'll see how I feel about it later.
Cover your ears, sir.
Yeah, so 72.69 split? No, it did go up. Okay, 73.73. I think the one on January 29, the odds went down. So never mind. This PB chance is great. It works perfectly. So here, in the desert, we need to play as the camel. The camel is useless and it only exists in this level, so we have to kill it and instantly swap out of it.
Well, it felt appropriate for this situation.
There it is.
It felt appropriate.
Fun in the Sun is a dangerous level. Just because the goal, the hidden goal, is to kill all of the desert foxes, and they have like the triple shotguns, right? And so it kind of has a shotgun effect where all 3 of the bullets can hit you, and then it takes like half your health in one shot. But sometimes none of the bullets hit you, and you're fine. So in order to do it fast, you almost have to ignore the fact that the foxes are shooting you, and just sort of hope that they don't hit you. Because sometimes they don't hit you, and then you're good to go.
That guy didn't even try to fight back. Hey, Quake. Long time no see indeed. What have you been up to?
So the fact that I'm still at full health here after killing, what, 3 foxes? Is really good. One of these guys has to wreck me though, right? One of them has to.
Die. Owl creature.
Yeah, that one. Right at the end, that guy took like a third of my health.
I have no idea what was happening there.
That last kill was a little bit sloppy, but the rest of those were really good. So here, this is pump jump. Do I get it?
Ah, shoot. I can still do it.
It's not a good setup. No, I missed. Oh well. Oh well. So because I'm at like a third health, this little section here with the fire actually is a little bit dangerous. So I have to... I waited a little bit until I knew that the flame was going to die down. But normally I would just sort of go. I had to wait though, otherwise I would have died.
Purple controller skin now.
So yeah, now the only thing that can go wrong in this level is if I fall off these pipes while hitting the these valves. But I'm a little bit more careful than I think a lot of other runners are. I know of 2 runners who have definitely fallen off of the
still using a green controller
pipes. There's probably more. Actually, maybe I know of 3. I don't really... The third one I don't really remember, but I like make sure I don't fall off these pipes.
I should save time here.
I tried to do a cutscene skip there. I don't think I hit it. But it's not that big of a deal because
whatever.
I don't really know how to move during that cutscene. And so I still saved 20 seconds out of a possible 23. And now we're at 98.87% chance to PB, almost 100%. And we're feeling good. We're feeling great.
To use, but I think the A button.
But the run I had on January 29, I think I was at a 99% chance going into Whirlwind Tour, and then I died in Whirlwind Tour, and I didn't PB. So 98 is not 100.
So I swapped it out. Dude, get away from here.
That seemed like a pretty good vulture kill,
out for
actually. Kind of dangerous. The vulture was hunting me down. But actually, hot cross buns is
custom
easiest in 99%.
Looks pretty nice.
In Silver Evo and in any percent, you basically worry about dodging all of the scorpions.
But maybe that's just me.
But in 99%,
I think it's
in order to spawn the trophy, you have to kill all the scorpions.
I don't know.
And so it's actually quite a bit safer in 99% because the scorpions are dead. You're good to go. This trick's called stacking, I guess. I forget who came into my chat and said, hey, by the way, you can do this. Somebody who doesn't run this game, but like thought about it. Just sort of stopped by and said, hey, you can stack the animals. And it's like, oh, great. That's going to save a lot of time. And it looks cool as well.
Every now and then, the vulture's eyes appear out of the fox's body. Very nice.
What? Usually you swap into the camel there, so that was...
What the heck?
I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, basically you just want to group up the scorpions and then just blast them all. Here, I'm trying to kill them, but I don't know the fact that they're already dead.
Hard to tell.
Because they all died at the same time there. Usually there's like at least one that's alive. But yeah, I could have been a little bit faster there had I known. So this section here is another example of just sort of like, I don't know, uninteresting gameplay. that just random, completionist categories might require you to do. You have to drop all of these scorpions into the water, which takes no skill and is just not interesting to do. It's not interesting to... Goodness gracious. It's not interesting to watch. It's not interesting to do. It's like... there's that Super Metroid thing where like the spring ball is. I forget. I don't know. And you just have to wait for that
Any tips?
enemy to destroy a barrier for like a minute.
I don't know.
Like that's not interesting. That's not fun. That's not different. I don't know. It's just boring
Apparently,
overall.
if you walk into the king pad,
And that's
on the first
completionist
level,
categories. There's
game
boring parts of
crashes.
every game, and completionist
So don't do
categories
that.
force you to do the boring parts. Like spending a minute dropping scorpions into a pool.
Also, you
for no
can
reason.
control the corpses of dead animals.
There I was doing another hitbox extension, so
well
that's like
as
going all the way back to
your own
Battery
character.
Farm when I was talking about using the ram's headbutt
So if
attack
there's a
to
dead
hit things
animal
through
that's out of
walls.
reach, you can just like
The vulture's
move it in the
attack
direction
extends
that you want it
downward
to
through the
move.
floor. So
and
I was
it will
hitting
slowly
switches
move in
and
that
collecting power
direction
cells through the floor instead
until
of
eventually it's in an area
playing
where
as a
you
scorpion
can't swap
to
into it.
hit them.
So
There I
you cheat.
collected this trophy, or the silver scorpion, as Evo, so that I could do a cutscene skip. It doesn't save a lot of time, but it's really easy, and so you might as well do it. And I think this is a good level again, right?
Yes, it works with a keyboard. I've only ever played it with a keyboard. I'm not sure it works with anything else, actually.
Well, it wasn't
I would
amazing,
be a little bit
but
surprised if it did.
I lost 2 seconds when there's only 5 seconds to save, so that's not bad. Now we're at a 99% chance to PB. Looking
I have
good.
a 99% chance of PBing now.
Looking good.
But I've been hurt before, so...
Sting in the Tail is a rough level. In order to spawn the trophies, you have to kill all the scorpions, which is kind of a theme in the desert. Again, they started running out of ideas, so they just... In the desert, almost all of the trophy spawns are just kill the animals. And it's usually kill the scorpions. So yeah, but you kill the scorpions here. And the fastest way to kill them, and I think pretty much the only way to kill them, is basically to butt stomp them as the kangaroo, which isn't super easy. It's kind of precise, and the scorpions move in an annoying way, and so you miss quite often. And there are just so many scorpions. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Maybe 10. I think 9. And they can hit you, right? Like there, he bit me, or poked me, or whatever, twice, even while I'm butt stomping it. And it just wears you down. And there's so many of these scorpions, it's rough. Here's a nifty trick. If you face a certain direction, hold Z, and then move backwards and forwards, you can pick up both those power cells at the same time. So here I'm trying to jump on the guy, get it. So far it's been actually pretty good. I think I've missed each scorpion once with my jump. There, I missed that guy once, twice. That's not great, but it's not bad. These ones are actually kind of easy, and I think that has to do with the fact that you're jumping from down below onto them, and so there's less time of you falling, and it's, yeah, a lot easier. So those guys are pretty easy to kill, actually, or relatively easy to kill. So I missed that guy once, I missed him twice, 3 times, 4 times, 4 times, which is not great. This is kind of a precise jump to the center.
Oh, shoot.
I missed it. Oh, I missed it again. I missed this twice, really? Oh, shoot. Alright. I was probably really worried there, because
Third time's the charm.
Usually if you miss it once and you get it again, you're like, okay, that wasn't bad. But if you miss it twice, then you start thinking like, oh no, am I going to spend 5 minutes trying to do this? But I got a third try, which is, yeah, not great, but it happened. This guy, how many times do I miss? Once, twice. Oh, there I thought I missed, and then I jumped again, so. But it's fine.
Where you at, bro?
Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So again, you have to play as every animal. So I'm swapping into the scorpion, but the scorpion's useless. So I'm swapping back out of the scorpion. And collecting power cells. Good times. Good times. Am I gonna lose? I must lose time here. Yeah,
Alright.
and that's all because I failed to jump to the center.
I failed to jump to the vulture section.
Unfortunate.
And I don't know how that's going to affect my time.
Unfortunate.
Affects my time quite a bit, actually.
Now 99.75% chance to PB. We're getting
possible
close to being a guaranteed PB, at least as far as the splits are concerned.
It seems like it's difficult.
So here's a cutscene skip right here,
Doable.
but again, to get it, you have to swap out and hit the thing as Evo. So I got it. You're supposed to be able to activate the second cutscene while the first one is going, and that extends the cutscene skip state. But I missed this, and so I could have saved more time there, but I didn't. This is a nifty trick. If you stand on this bone, you can see the vultures right at the top of the screen, and you can actually hit them from here. And that basically skips the level overall. Jurassic Park is a very annoying level, though, speedrunning-wise, because the vulture can't fly very high, but you need it to. And so there's a trick you can do to make it fly, which looks like this. I call it bee spamming, and I hate it. It's a terrible trick because it hurts your thumb or whatever hand you're using to spam, I guess. Whatever finger you're using to spam. And you have to do it constantly. And if you screw up, you drop the fox, and you have to go all the way back to the bottom, and you have to start over. It's miserable. Anyway, that's like all of this level is just bee spamming.
I feel like my heart rate probably jumps to like 200 BPM when I'm doing the bee spam. Oh my goodness. I hate that trick so much.
Some people bee spam after collecting this power cell because it helps you move upwards faster. And so it is faster. It is faster. But sometimes you fail and you drop the fox in hole, and then the run's dead. So I don't. I just say forget it.
Is the camera stuck like this? Okay.
There's no way I'm killing a
What is
run
going on?
2 hours in, or I guess a minute 45 in. And then especially not this run. This run is way too fast for me to just throw away like that.
So am I, Quake. So am I. It's just such a garbage strat.
So even this cliff that's coming up, even though it's like really small, you still need to bee spam to get up it, because the vulture
It's
just
so much garbage that I had to like.
saying that the vulture can fly is like a technicality almost. It can barely fly.
I push A, Z, and forward with one hand, and then the other hand just spams B. It's like a... I don't know what I want to call it, like an interior claw.
The puzzle for this level is to knock this guy's teeth out, which you do just by sort of bumping into them twice. really easy to do if you do it as the vulture, but you can do it as any animal. So.
Alright, one more B-spam.
I did do cutscene skips at the start of this level, but these cutscene skips are really hard, and so I only do it for the first one. And that's only because you have the possibility of extending it to the second one. Otherwise, it's probably not worth it because of how likely it is that you'll fail versus how much time it actually saves. Because they're short cutscenes, so even if you do get them, you don't save a lot of time. That was the last beast round.
Oh, yes. Okay.
We're good. Now I can...
Garbage strat. I hate it.
Now I can relax a little bit.
But I succeeded. And it's over now.
Kill the kangaroo. And the last thing you can do is get to the teleporter using the kangaroo instead of the vulture.
How'd I do?
It's kind of a precise jump. Is this a gold? No, it's not.
Not a gold.
Almost a gold.
Yes. 100% chance
0.7
to PB,
seconds.
guys.
But yeah, I just point that out.
100%.
My PB chance right now is 100%, which is fun. But we're in Whirlwind Tour. Whirlwind Tour is the level that killed my run last time. You start by launching yourself in the water to get this power cell. And then you launch yourself in the water here to get this power cell. And then you have to do the Whirlwind Tour skip, which is a impossible trick. Nobody knows how it works, and so there's no consistent way to do it.
No.
What do I do? I think I get a third try, maybe fourth try. It's not great. Yeah, so it's twice. But you can do this for like minutes on end without getting it, and it's very frustrating.
Come on.
Not third try. Oof. Not fourth try. Do I get a fifth try? Ah, jeez. There we go.
There we go.
Goodness gracious. And the reason why my run died, again, I keep talking about the run that happened on January 29. That's because this run has so many similarities to it in terms of how good it was and Whirlwind Tour. The reason why I died is because after getting Whirlwind Tour skip, those foxes actually did so much damage to me. And they started doing a lot of damage to me here too. But not as much, so I'm in a better spot. And now here I am killing the scorpions. Fortunately, there's an armed desert fox in this level, and so killing these scorpions is a lot easier than it is in Sting in the Tail. But yeah, to spawn this trophy, you have to kill the scorpions. Again, like every other desert level, you gotta kill the scorpions. So there it is. Even though the trophy spawns basically right beside me, it's faster to pick it up as the kangaroo, so I don't pick it up here. Gotta collect some power cells. This kangaroo fight is actually a little bit dangerous. In any percent, you're at full health here, and so you can just sort of tank the kangaroo. But in 99%, you're at about half health, and so you really need to abuse the fact that you can get onto a cliff and abuse the AI a little bit. And so I do that, but I also do it in a way where I kill the kangaroo in a good spot, because later on I need that desert fox to do a turbo launch. There's a power cell up here, so I'm going to grab that. Normally you're supposed to use the vulture there, but you can do it as a kangaroo. And the vulture's slow and the kangaroo's fast, so it's a pretty easy decision to make. Another power cell under a bridge. You can grab that by jumping from the shoreline, but I'm kind of playing a little bit safe here, just given that I'm almost 4 minutes ahead of my PB, and I'm this deep into the run. And so, like, I'm on such a pace that this is almost guaranteed to be the world record as long as I don't just do something entirely stupid. And that's why I start playing a little bit more conservatively. Because it almost doesn't matter what I do as long as I don't die.
Okay, good.
I guess there is one thing.
What the heck, dude? Grab the thing.
Which is the turbo launch right here. This isn't a very good spot for turbo launching, and so sometimes it just doesn't work and you have to spend a lot of time trying to set it up differently. The requirements to make a turbo launch work, I don't really know what they are. And it might just be a myth that moving the kangaroo around causes something to be different.
Turbo launch, please.
So it doesn't work 3 times, so I just like pick up the kangaroo and like drop it again, and then it works. So I don't know. But yeah, the reason why we turbo launch here is because there's a power cell here. And now even after you get this power cell, sometimes the way the vulture flies doesn't let you get up onto the teleporter. And then you have to go back and do another turbo launch, and it sucks.
Yes.
But I made it. So despite missing Whirlwind Tour Skip 5 times, I only lost 10 seconds. 20 seconds relative to my gold, since there was 10 seconds of time I could have saved. But if I got Whirlwind Tour first try, Whirlwind Tour Skip, that probably would have been a gold. That's a really good, considering how many times I had to do the Whirlwind Tour Skip, that's a really good time that I got, in my opinion. But yeah, we're still at a 100% chance to PB, so we're still looking good. Shifting Sands is a pretty brain-dead level. There's only like one thing that can go wrong, which is right here if you fail this jump. That's not a hard jump to do, and so you basically never fail it. And now this level is... You're good to go. There's no worries here. Kangaroo fight was okay. Probably could have gone a little bit better, but, you know, it's whatever. That's not one of those things that you worry about. You try your best. But yeah, this whole level is now just sort of collecting the power cells, and there's no enemies in this level to kill you. There's no pits for you to fall in. There's no hard tricks. You just sort of do it. There is a trick coming up called Tent Escape. I'm going to go into the tent as Evo, but I'm going to put the kangaroo in a spot where I can swap into it. Normally, once you're like in the tent, you can't get out. You can't walk out, that is, but you can jump out. So, or you can swap out, I should say. So that's Tent Escape.
What?
My positioning there was bad. I should have been a little bit closer to the right point there. Lost a little bit of time, but again, it doesn't really matter. This level doesn't matter. Not in the face of 3 minutes, 33 seconds. These are mistakes that I shouldn't be making. Or I guess just that one. The kangaroo fight was fine. But yeah. So here, you can do sometimes twice as much damage to these vulture. It takes 5 hits to kill, but because you can do twice as much damage, you can kill it in 3 hits. I wasn't counting. Was that 4 or 5? I think it was 5, which is the standard amount. But the fact that I never missed it is actually pretty good. Sometimes the vulture starts flying in such a way that causes you to miss, and there's no way to react to it except to just keep trying. So anyway, this was an okay-ish level. I'm going to lose a little bit of time, but it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So there, I checked as I was entering that thing on Punch Up Pyramid and on the other like end stages. Instead of showing your power cell count, it shows a picture of Evo and how many of your body parts you have. And the color of that picture changes depending on how many power cells you have. So at this point, I'm supposed to have collected all 390. And if you end up collecting 299 or 389, it really sucks, especially when you're 3.5 minutes ahead. So I always check to make sure by looking at that image of Evo, and if that image is yellow, then that means I got all 390. If it's silver gray, then I didn't. But yeah, I confirmed. So now I know that I got all the power cells. I need to check to make sure I got all the trophies, and then I need to check to make sure I swapped into every animal. But the power cells, I'm in the clear. And I'm pretty sure at this point that I
just like straight up not doing it.
Got all the trophies, because if you skip a trophy, that saves like 30-40 seconds. And so you just like randomly get a gold that you feel like you shouldn't have gotten. Then you know that you screwed up, sort of a thing, because you just skipped something. There's a trick here called AC Camel, and I just didn't do it. Because there's a small chance, really small chance, that it just soft locks the game. It saves maybe like 12 seconds, so it's quite a bit of a time save. But I'm just like, I don't need 12 seconds. I just need to not soft lock, right? And so, again, a little bit of a conservative play, but probably the right call at this point in time. And I'm just gonna kill the kangaroo, kill the camel.
Soft lock, yes.
The normal
way.
What
you're doing, you tend not to, but even though I know what I'm doing, I'm still just like, I don't care. It saves probably 10 seconds, which is a lot.
And actually, this camel kill that I do, the super camel kill, is...
I still don't care.
Really good.
I still don't care.
25 seconds left on the clock on the final down. If you do AC camel, it's like 30 seconds left. So... yeah, I don't know much more to say about that. That was an amazing super camel fight. And then the last up, most of the time loss or time save on this level is just the kangaroo fight. The useless camel fight is pretty standard, pretty easy to do at the same speed. The super camel fight is also the same, especially if you do AC camel, then it's always the same. And so it's all just about the kangaroo fight, which is challenging. It is possible. All three animals can be killed right at about the 30-second point in the round. Realistically, the camel can be killed consistently at 30 seconds. The super camel can be as well if you do the AC camel strat. The kangaroo, though, you're probably not going to. And so there's the 30-second count. I think I kill it at like 23 seconds. 23, 22, 21, 20. Okay, about 20 seconds probably. Yeah, we don't actually know. But it's still decent. To the point where, like, even though I didn't get AC camel, I didn't even attempt it, I might still save time here. No, I'm going to lose like half a second. Okay. But yeah, that was really good. I was expecting to lose like 10 seconds because I didn't do AC camel. And I thought I would play average. But yeah. Alright, so here, best possible time, 2:04.54. I think the world record, it's a low 2:16. 2:16.30 something? Maybe 2:16 in the teens? I forget. That's by AC 143. So you can check that out as well. AC is a good runner. I did do the level select glitch to swap the text here, and I nailed it. So that's good. And now I just need to...
Maybe I should stop.
At this point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get the world record because Big Celebration Parade is really easy when you're playing as Gold Evo. Yeah. It's not even that difficult when you're playing as Bronze Evo. So being Gold, it's like, it's a walk in the park. It is a little bit inconsistent, though, as Bronze Evo, but when you're a Gold Evo, it becomes a lot more consistency. Bronze Evo, you're talking like plus or minus 40 seconds. Gold Evo, you're talking like plus or minus 10 seconds-ish. I do screw up right here, though. There's a trick I call left side escape, which looks like this. But I didn't quite make it out as fast as I should have. If you make it out fast enough, you can move during this cutscene, but I didn't. And so that sort of screws me up a little bit, because now the animals are going to be slightly out of position. Normally I kill the regular rat at this point, and I also end up killing a couple of sheep in the center before I start killing these dogs. But now I'm just going to say, forget it, I'll kill the rat later. The sheep I'll kill later as well. Just make sure I kill those dogs. Because the sheep and the rat don't really matter. It's those dogs are more important. There's also the king rat. It would be nice if the king rat was that shows up right there, and you can kill it. These are all what I call roaming animals. They wander the stage instead of staying in the same spot. And so sometimes you can get lost, or they get lost. And so it's good to kill them right at the start when you know where they are. But all these sheep, they're always in the middle. You know where they are. There's 9, so you hear me counting. And then there's 7 of every other animal at this point. So I'm going to count them down. Yeah, none of these are roaming animals. That's the roaming rat. So the reason why the rat's not a problem is because we play this level going clockwise around the level. The rat travels counterclockwise around the level, so we're going to bump into it eventually. And that's why I don't worry about whether or not I'm going to find it, because it's going to run into me. 5, 6, 7. I do screw up right here, and it costs me a little bit of time. I count that mouse as a dog kill, but it's not a dog, so I'm actually at 1 dog kill right now instead of 2. So I get what I think is 7 dogs, but it's actually 6. And so I miss a dog somewhere, and I go to the rats. It costs me some time, but I'm not dead yet. 6. This was really good dog spots. 7. I know where the dogs are, so I find it again really easily. But I thought I was on gold pace here, basically, because of how good that dog fight was, minus the fact that I missed the dog. So I was feeling good. Just the foxes. 2. It's never a good feeling, though, when you kill all the foxes and you think you're done, but the game doesn't end. You're just like, what is happening? Especially because sometimes animals can fall out of bounds, or they get pushed out of bounds by the cars, is most likely. So now I'm like, where is it a frog? Is it a dog? And then I see it. I got it. I didn't get 7 dogs. So I found it. But this is the last animal. Here we go. 2h05m08s. If I had gotten that dog, this would have been gold by so much. 08. 2h05m08s. There it is. I win. I got the world record. I mean, at this point, I have to go back and I have to check, but I do check. I got all the trophies, except for the Fat Bear Mountain trophy, of course. And I played as every animal as well. So that is, at least as of filming, so this is Saturday, February 5, 2022. But it was the world record since January 30, 2022. And maybe is still the world record when you watch it. How do you feels good. 3 minutes. This was a really good run. 3.5. And I think this was the first time that I got the world record by like a lot. This is a world record by about a minute. Probably a little bit more than a minute. It didn't happen yesterday, it happened today. And yeah, usually when I get the world record, I get it by like 2 seconds. I skipped a cell, yeah. But this one, this is a good run. I like this run. So yeah, you can watch the run live with interaction with chat as well on my Twitch channel. So I'll put a link to the run in the comments below. And yeah, if you like watching this game being played live, you can follow me on Twitch. Or if you just like YouTube videos about this game, I guess you can subscribe here. Thanks for hanging out. I'm jacked. I'm jacked to the tits.